My name is Ieva Jakuša. I'm originally from Latvia and I graduated Design Academy 2020. My project is called Artefacts of Tracking Devices, and it gives a comment about big tech industries, how they're tracking our data and turning it into profiles of our identity that very often leads of miscommunication of who we are, and it's not translating our real us. I think everyone knows this story about how they were tracking this one girl on the internet, her actions, and then suddenly she got a message in her mailbox that were offering things for a pregnant woman. And this message was opened by her father, and he was quite shocked that my daughter is not pregnant, but actually she was. And it's really crazy that, for example, big tech companies knows it before maybe your family knows. But then it's also scary, but on the same time it's really weird where this information comes from and how they put it together and how they are creating all of these profiles about our personalities and who we are. And it feels that they know us, but they don't really know us, of course. So I made a comment about it and then embodied all these things that they are collecting about us into these small sculptures that represents 3 different tracking devices. And I wanted to make them as ridiculous as they can be and highlight this absurd, how they make the concepts about us. My biggest challenge is usually break the information into something tangible, because I get quite lost in the information and it gets more interesting and it gets more interesting, and I always feel that I could research it forever, because I don't know how you can call yourself an expert in some sort of field, but then it comes a point where you need to stop and start to create. And I think this point is very hard for me still now. Graduating while there was COVID was not so easy, but there was also some positive sides. And I would say that one which was the most helpful for me was how people were accessible, because I actually could get in touch with so many interesting people and professionals in the field and interview them and talk with them and gather like a lot of surveys and information from people because they had time and they were actually in the computer. And I remember that the biggest wave crashed right into the time when we were doing the research phase. And I think I would never collect so many interesting answers on a daily basis. I would, if I think about the future of this project, I would definitely like to work more with my sculpture practice and see how I can more engage story into the shapes. And I would like to tell stories maybe without any kind of written description, just with the sculpture itself, that people can already read the meaning by looking out of it. And then only if they want to get more involved, then there's extra material to discover. When I think about myself in 5 years, I would love to work in a creative direction, because I have a lot of art education. I have been studying art for 8 years now. And I feel that I know a lot of fields, but I haven't found one that I would like to engage fully. So I like to overview it all. And I think creative direction is a place where this kind of work way is valued. For my fellow students, I would suggest, for especially graduation project and anything in school, to make projects for yourself, because especially now after graduating, I understand how luxurious this experience has been, that you have so much time and so much resources and workshops and teachers and people who's genuinely interested in your work and like fellow students to do completely what you want. Of course, it can be influenced by assignments, and maybe it's nice to do collaborations with someone else, but in the end of the day, you are the one who decides who you're going to do. And I think after school to do it, it's more complex, and it can be the way that you choose to do for your future to work as an independent artist, but still you're always going to have clients or some kind of frames, or maybe you're going to work in a company and the freedom will be more limited.